And now Kutztown University Athletics and KUR present to you this week's edition of the Golden Bear Beat. This weekly radio program brings to you an in-depth look at the week in sports around campus, including game highlights, player and coach interviews, and an analysis of recent sporting events. Live on campus, let's send it to our host, Adam Dobrowolski.
And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this packed edition of the Golden Bear Beat here on this February 27th. And in this edition here from the studios of KUR, we take a look at the busy week to come. This Wednesday, the 2014 lacrosse season begins, so we have a preview of that team and what they plan to do for 2014. We'll hear from head coach Kate Scattergood, as well as the three seniors and the leading returning player in terms of scoring. Also, for this weekend, we have coming up in KU Wrestling, the Super Region 1 Championships. We'll hear from head coach Rob Fisher and also break down what's to come for those 10 tournaments, one in each weight class. Also, this weekend, you have the PSAC Indoor Track and Field Championships on the campus of Bucknell University. So we'll hear from head coach Ray Hoffman and talk about the racers, the field event players, and such that'll be performing this weekend to try to make it to the NCAA championships, just like what wrestling will be doing this weekend. And then finally, we talk about the first round of the PSAC championship tournament for men's and women's basketball, as well as KU bowling in its third NEC meet. So we have a lot of stuff to get to here for this edition of the Golden Bear Beat. But we start things off with a look at the 2014 KU lacrosse team. The Golden Bears in their second season under head coach Kate Scattergood. A little bit of a transition period for the Golden Bears. It's year two of this, trying to build a new mold, so to say, for this program and its history. Last year, in year one under Coach Scattergood, the Golden Bears went 3-14. Had themselves some close losses last season, though, and they're looking to turn those losses into victories. Some of those close losses for the Golden Bears last year included a 3-goal loss to Converse in the season opener, a 3-goal loss to Holy Family, an overtime home loss to Shippensburg by just 1 goal, and then close losses to Edinboro by 5 and Philadelphia University by 3. So and also of note, in this season finale, a 4-goal loss to Slippery Rock. So if the Golden Bears can turn some of those closer games around, you also have a 4-goal loss at Millersville. If they can turn around some of those close games, there's a chance that the Golden Bears get some more victories under their belt, and that's what they're looking to do while building up a young team. As you look at the roster this season, for Kutztown, you have 3 seniors, Joanne McLaughlin, Christine Bodecker, and Lauren Schlitt. You also have a few juniors, Taylor Stone, Jillian Spencer, Kelsey Halligan, and Morgan Harris, but a lot of young players, a sophomore class that will look to see players like Brielle Dickey and Kara Lord build off their freshman campaigns, and also a bunch of freshmen. For the Golden Bears, you have 1 redshirt freshman in Devin Davis, but a total of 10 true freshmen. So this could be a year that sees a lot of learning for the Golden Bears and improvement as the year goes on. The leading returning scorer for the Golden Bears, Jillian Spencer, last year had 21 goals and 3 assists with the team. Also returning players include Brielle Dickey, who had 13 goals and 5 assists last year. Taylor Stone had 11 goals and 1 assist. And then in terms of key players defensively, you will have returning from injury Lauren Schlitt. Schlitt did not play last year due to an ACL injury, but you have Kelsey Halligan, who will be leading the way in the defense moving forward. While we're at it right now, let's hear from the head coach of the Golden Bears, Kate Scattergood. As earlier this week, I sat down with Coach Scattergood, got her thoughts on the upcoming season, the prospects for the team, the competition in a very tough PSAC, one of the toughest conferences to rebuild in. That and much more. And here it is, the interview with head coach Kate Scattergood. How has the offseason been training-wise for the players? Has the weather impacted anything at all?
I mean, it's definitely impacted our being able to get outside and do long distance type stuff as far as training goes. We are lucky that, we're in the field house as much as possible, and that's a pretty good space for us. I know a lot of teams are stuck in gymnasiums right now, which is even worse. But, we're doing what we can, making the most of our time, making the most of our efforts. We got to utilize different times and spaces, which is what you got to do. But the girls are preparing. I mean, we're ready for next Wednesday, and that's what we're preparing for.
What have you seen so far from the seniors, especially with Joanna at goal? Obviously, is a kind of a good starting point for the team. What do you see from them?
Absolutely. Well, she had a solid season last year, and we're expecting nothing but the same, even better this year for her senior year. She's been working really hard. Does a lot puts in all of her extra sessions, comes in for extra hours, goalie sessions, and is embracing her role as kind of the leader of the defense and the team back there, and that's exactly what we need to happen. So, she had a great showing in our first scrimmage last Saturday, and made 10-plus saves in 40-some minutes, so that was good for her, and that's exactly what we expect for her to keep moving forward in that respect.
In terms of Christine and Lauren, what do they bring as seniors?
Christine's been a important player for us as far as, kind of team leadership, and just she's a real good communicator with the team. As a senior, especially with so many younger players on our roster and new players, helps them fit into the mold of what's going on and show them the way and everything, which is huge. We also expect her to obviously make an impact on the field as a midfielder as well, being a senior. Lauren Schlitt, it's great to just have her back on the field. She got injured very early on, in fact, the first day of practice last season, and, worked as hard as she can throughout the summer and fall, coming off knee surgery. She's back 100%, and she's doing great things. We see her primarily more fitting in on the defensive end than in the midfield, but she'll probably get a little time at both.
In terms of what people might look at from last year, Rosa was one of the leading offensive players, not back with the team this year. Who do you expect will kind of take in, make that next step to kind of fill into the top end of the attack?
I think we're looking at a good mix of both attackers and midfielders to kind of fill in those goal-scoring roles, which is important in lacrosse, that you have multi-aspects of attack. In the midfield, I think Jill Spencer and Brielle Dickey will be our two main threats. They can play both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Great, Dickey's got tremendous speed. They both have great skills, shot releases, things like that, so I expect them both to really contribute on that end. Brielle Dickey's also a very smart player, where not only can she finish, but she can distribute the ball, as being able to read the play and, again, get our attackers involved in that respect. Taylor Stone, I expect to kind of step into a role as being the leader back on attack. She's obviously the one back there with the most experience, and I expect her to kind of take some of the burden of leadership on back there, which she has. We've seen some great things so far out of Kara Lord, a sophomore. She has really stepped in and become a much more skilled and intelligent player on the field, which is great to see. Taylor Sandin is a sophomore. We expect to step in and be able to contribute in the goal-scoring department. And then we've got a couple freshmen who we expect to make big impacts in Sarah Holmes and Morgan Bright. Especially Sarah. She's a real smart player and can distribute the ball as well. So she should bring a good balance to our attack as far as goal-scoring and assists go.
Now, obviously, last year you had seniors graduate as well. Marissa and Gina, I know, stand out to me just from off memory. But defensively and transition-wise, what else may you need to see some step up from some of the players who were with the team last year to kind of fill in for those roles?
Yeah, we lost. You mentioned Marissa Kolodner, Randy Veit, Emily Savini were all defenders for us that pretty much played every game. Gina in the midfield. We got some contributions from Katie on attack, and then Kelsey Hogan was in and out with injuries as well. So they, most of that focus was defense into the midfield. We expect our juniors back there, Morgan Harris and Kelsey Halligan, to really step up again as being kind of the senior, those seniors left, and now as juniors they need to take some of that leadership on. That is also one of the reasons we've kind of moved Lauren Schlitt back in the defensive role as well, is that we needed somebody, she's a real smart player, and we need somebody kind of back there to help everybody else out, and Lauren's capable of that. We do have several freshmen that we expect to really contribute on the defensive end as well. Emily Palermo is a real solid player, aggressive, great 1v1 defender, and we expect her to have a big impact along with Courtney O'Neill and Haley Romiser.
With it being year 2, how does it make it easier for the players now that they kind of already know how it kind of works in your system and with your coaching staff? How does that kind of help out where the team can maybe hit the ground running a little bit more this year?
Absolutely, and I think we really saw that where we were able to use our fall season to really develop more of our team game, where last year it was a lot of, learning the ins and outs of what I expect at practice, how I run practices, this drill, that drill, what our offense, defensive strategies are going to be. They pretty much knew that coming in, so it allowed us to really develop things. The flip side of that was, again, we had a lot of new people, a lot of turnover, a lot of freshmen coming in. So obviously there was an adjustment period for them, but it was good that, again, our seniors and juniors, stepped into the leadership role as far as showing them the way, practice expectations, so we could really focus on developing our team game. That obviously carried into this preseason, where I feel like we've been able to work on things much earlier in the year this year than we ever got to last year.
Obviously, the PSAC is stacked. Lock Haven and Westchester, I know, are two of the favorites up top. What's going to be the challenge to improve the team's win total in conference this year as compared to last year?
Well, I think, like you said, it's just a challenging conference from top to bottom. And honestly, it changes every year. I think even some of the middle teams last year are ready to make a run at some of those top teams this year. So we're just going to take it game by game and compete as hard as we can in those games. I do believe that we will be, we were closer to winning a couple more conference games last year. Lost one in OT, lost one by a couple goals, 2-3 goals to Edinboro. I think those are games that we're going to learn how to win this year. Again, kind of the struggles of letting the program grow and the expectations grow, and I think hard work pays off, and the girls are buying into that that's going to turn into results if we keep with it. And I think we'll see a couple more of those conference wins come through this year, just with, again, continuing to develop further. And that's what's happened here in year 2, basically. Getting the team game together, again, knowing our strategies in and out, and being able to perform those. They're not new anymore. The girls, can go through the repetitions and know what they're doing.
Might there be a game or a stretch during the season, or maybe just a goal that might be kind of a litmus test to know if the program is progressing as expected?
Absolutely. I think our 3 early games that we open up here with Georgian Court, who won their conference last year, and then Holy Family, which was a 2 or 3 goal game for us last year, and then Philly U, who is a pretty good team we were able to compete with last year. But again, we want to see if we can pull some of these games out. They're all solid teams, but I think they're teams that, again, we should be competitive the whole way through, and some of those should go in our favor. So that's going to be some really good early tests, but especially Philly's probably the strongest out of the 3 that we face early on here.
And finally, Coach, is there any one key to the team being able to build upon its success as the season goes on, whether it be something on the field that a way they need to attack, or just, kind of off the field mentality-wise that they might need to do?
I think both of those come into huge play. I think the biggest thing is the off-the-field mentality. Again, kind of going into games, we're expected to do better. I think the girls have much more confidence in their performance this year, that we've been preparing harder than ever, and they should feel more confident going into these games, which we hope really pulls into results for us. We did lose some games late in games last year, and I don't think that's going to happen to us this year. I think we're going to have that mental capability and confidence to be able to pull things through.
Thank you very much again, Coach.
Thank you.
Feels great. The girls are here to help me. They're always here.
Apologize, some technical difficulties there, but as we accidentally had there, one of the player clips begin to play, we do take a look now at some of the player quotes from the 2014 KU lacrosse team. Earlier this week, I also sat down with the 3 seniors again. That's Joanne McLaughlin, Christine Bodecker, and Lauren Schlitt. I also sat down with the team's leading returning scorer in Jillian Spencer, got some of their thoughts on the season and such. And first, I asked about the excitement for this 2014 season, and here's what Christine Bodecker had to say.
I'm really excited for the year. I think the freshmen that we have this year are going to really put us up. The dynamic's a lot different. We're ready for a lot of things. I know the snow is like setting us back, but we're doing the best we can with our practice times and everything that we have. I know we're going to try and start like new traditions, new stuff, so that way every year we can look back and like kind of realize that this is the year we're really going to change things. And year 2 for Coach Scattergood, I know it's a big improvement. Like last year she's kind of just like settling into things, and now it's like we all know her better, she knows us better, so she can expect more from us and we can expect more from each other. So I think we're going to do really well this year. I'm excited.
Also, the excitement personally for Lauren Schlitt comes in returning from an ACL injury. As you heard from Coach Scattergood, a very early injury last year. She's back on the field and ready to go, as she explained here.
Feels great. The girls are here to help me. They're always here to hold me, mentally and physically, keep me up, keep me positive on the field. We work together as a unit. We're here to, improve our PSAC ranking. And we had different intensity than we did in the past. Like, we're all motivated, to be better as a team, and we all help each other out on and off the field.
Big factor for the Golden Bears will be how the young players, those 10 freshmen, adjust to the Division II level. I asked the 4 players their thoughts on some of the youth adjustments and improvement. And first, here's what goalkeeper Joanne McLaughlin had to say about the adjustments for the freshmen.
I think they're definitely not used to the play of Division II lacrosse yet because they haven't seen it. But I think they'll get used to it, and from us explaining to them what's going to happen, and from our scrimmages, from our past scrimmage at Widener, I think they definitely got the hang of it quickly, so they'll be good.
Also, here's what Lauren Schlitt had to say about the young players improving thus far from the off-season in the fall now to preseason in the spring in the first scrimmage against Widener.
I'm actually impressed with how much they improved from fall season. I've been sitting out on the bench watching the game, watching them practice, and they had some downs during the fall, but I see a dramatic change, improvement, and now we're really working together as a unit, and I'm really looking forward to the season and to make a huge change in PSAC.
Now, of course, with the graduating players, as we heard from Coach Scattergood, a lot of them coming on defense, there's going to be an adjustment. A lot of young players on defense, and here's what Joanne McLaughlin had to say about the prospects on the defensive side.
I'm really excited this year. We do have a young defense. We have 3 new they will be starting defenders, freshmen. So that'll be different for me, which I'm very excited about. They work very hard. We also have Kelsey Halligan and Morgan Harris, which is good, and we have Lauren Schlitt coming back from an ACL injury, which I'm very excited about.
So that will be how things pan out altogether for the Golden Bears on the defensive side. Offensively, as you heard from Coach Scattergood, Golden Bears are going to need to give different looks if they want to be successful. And there will be some players who will be hanging around the midfield and then pushing up into the attack. 2 of those players include Brielle Dickey and Jillian Spencer. And here's what Spencer had to say about those players who might be playing midfield and need to work on the attacking half.
Brielle and I have been playing with each other since we were in 6th grade, actually, so we can kind of read each other, and I think we always know the next move, and we're just there, and then we make the connections with the low attack. And we have a lot of freshmen who kind of fit in well with the attack.
And all that coming together will be the big key. You already have that chemistry between Jillian and Brielle. Those 2 both went to Washington Township High School in South Jersey, from Sewell, New Jersey. And that area pretty good for lacrosse. They have a chance there to gain some experience, not just checking out high school lacrosse, but if they check out the nearby area, Rowan University, a Division III lacrosse program who's had some success in the NCAA tournament over the past 6 years. They have a chance to see kind of just from an outside perspective how it works collegiately. Well, last year they got to get that on the field working together, and as long as the communication works well between the players, that certainly will be a good thing for the Golden Bears. And that it was something I asked Jillian Spencer about the individual keys, and she kept it short and sweet and basically repeated what I just said.
It's just going to be communication on and off the field with the whole team.
That's pretty much what it's going to be coming down to, the communication. Can these players work well together? They're going to have to get that job done, especially in terms of the PSAC schedule. Golden Bears will begin off the season 5 games non-conference, Georgian Court this upcoming Wednesday. The following Wednesday at Holy Family. We'll see how the weather impacts those games. The first game is slated for March 14th against Philadelphia University at 4 p.m. We'll see how the weather impacts that. Then during spring break, Kutztown will go down 2 games down south, Young Harris and Coker. And then March 22nd, the PSAC schedule begins with East Stroudsburg. So there's going to be a lot of things here for the Golden Bears moving forward. But for one final question, I asked Christine Bodecker, just really what are the team and individual goals for this upcoming season?
We do set individual goals and team goals, but I know a lot of us this year, for our own individual and team goal, we want to raise our rank in the PSAC, and really we're looking forward to that and really going to try our best to do that this year. I think we have to focus on the present and the future rather than the past. A lot of the times we have trouble with looking at past games and being like, oh, we did that, but we have to put past in the past and really look forward to the future and focus on now rather than before.
There'll be 7 home games at Keystone Field this season. 5 of them, the final 5, will be aired on the Golden Bear Network. Edinboro, March 28th. Bloomsburg, March 29th. Seton Hill, April 5th. IUP, April 12th. And Gannon, April 26th. We're going to head off to break here on the Golden Bear Network. When we come back, we'll preview the Super Region 1 Championships in wrestling and the PSAC Indoor Track and Field Championships. We'll talk where the Golden Bears fit in those 2 championships when you return on KUR. Stay tuned. Back here on the Golden Bear Beat on KUR, Adam Dobrovolsky here in the studios as we move on the show, looking ahead to this weekend. We talked already the 2014 lacrosse season preview, which begins for the team their season this Wednesday. This weekend, though, there's a lot going on. That includes KU wrestling at the Super Region 1 Championships. It'll take place on the campus of Pitt Johnstown, where the Golden Bears earlier this year got their first ever victory against the Mountain Cats. Looking at the top-ranked performers in each region, 3 will make it from each region individually, and that among 12 different teams. Top-ranked team in the Super Region 1, Notre Dame of Ohio. You have the number 2 team, Mercyhurst. 3's Pitt Johnstown, 4 Kutztown. Kutztown at 16th in the final regular season polls, according to the National Wrestling Coaches Association. 5th, you have Gannon. Shippensburg is 6th. 7th is East Stroudsburg. 8th, West Liberty. 9th, American International. 10th, Millersville. 11th, Wheeling Jesuit. And 12th, Seton Hill. For the top for each rank, in the 125, your top wrestler, Matt Turek. Golden Bears do not have any ranked in the top 6 in 125. In the 133, Marty Carlson, Notre Dame College, is the top-ranked wrestler. Evan Yanilevich ranked 2nd in Super Region 1. In 141, Maurice Miller, the top-ranked player. He's from Notre Dame College. Mitch Volker for Kutztown is ranked 3rd. In the 149, Mercyhurst, Jeremy Landowski, the top-ranked wrestler in the region. Joe Esposito of Kutztown is ranked 2nd. And the 157, John Rivera of Notre Dame College, the top-ranked wrestler. Matt Martocchio, the 4th-ranked wrestler, and he most likely will be representing KU this weekend. The top-ranked wrestler in the 165 is Eric Berge. He also from Notre Dame College of Ohio. Bo Candelaria for Kutztown is ranked 5th, but he's spent half of the year at 157, half at 165, so that might be part of the reason he's as low as 5. In the 174, Notre Dame's Joey Davis is the top-ranked wrestler in the region. Andrew Kinney is ranked 5th. In the 184, Travis McKillop of Pitt Johnstown, the top-ranked wrestler in the region. Giovanni Ortiz is 5th. He'll likely be representing Kutztown. In the 197, Brandon Johnson of Notre Dame, the top-ranked wrestler. Brandon Clark for Kutztown, ranked 3rd. And then at 285, Ziad Haddad for Kutztown, the top-ranked wrestler. And you do have a few nationally ranked wrestlers. In the 125, Turek is 5th. Dave Fogel of Pitt Johnstown, 8th. Carlson is 4th in the 133. Miller, 2nd in the 141. Dylan D'Urso, 7th in that weight class. 157, you have Rivera at 7, 165, Berge at 3. Braden Turner of East Stroudsburg is 4th, and the 174, Davis 1st. Brendan McCune of East Stroudsburg is 6th, and the 184, you have Travis McKillop at 2nd, and then Zach Zelks of Gannon ranked 5th. Brandon Johnson is 4th at the 197, and then Big Z, Ziad Haddad, number 1 in Division II in the heavyweight ranks. So for Kutztown, in terms of rankings, there's a projected good chance for the Golden Bears to have maybe 4 or 5, if not more, get in for Kutztown, and it should be interesting to see how it all pans out, because not always do the favorites move forward, but we'll see what happens. But I did get to sit down earlier this week with head coach Rob Fisher and get his thoughts on this upcoming championships, the Super Region 1 championships, and here's the interview. First and foremost, Coach, just your thoughts on how the team is up to this point getting ready for the regionals.
We're totally prepared. Had a little bit of a setback our last dual meet, but we put that behind us the very day after and got back to work, and guys are working great and looking good.
Overall for this season, first school win against Pitt Johnstown, able to get a ranked win against Indianapolis, finishing 6th of the national duels. Where do you feel like the team in terms of its focus is, because it seems it's right at the top level?
It sure is. We had a couple hiccups here and there, but overall we had an outstanding season as far as the team goes. Now it's more it's almost all individual now, so it's up to the guys. As the coaches, we prepare them. Their teammates are preparing them, but ultimately it's going to be up to them, and it's an individual tournament.
Obviously, the big thing that many people are looking forward to is what Z can do, and unfortunately he wasn't able to wrestle at the PSAC championships, but obviously we know that he's got the experience and the veteran-type attitude to attack these regionals. What do you think he's done, maybe if anything different from preparing what he's done for the dual season, or is he just kind of doing the same thing?
Doing the same thing, but in preparation for the entire season, he trimmed down, he lost some weight, he's faster, he's stronger, and he's better than he was last year. So he's in a position that's really going to be difficult for anybody trying to wrestle him. The favorite doesn't always win, and that's great. The great thing about sports, you have to compete, but he's in a great position to get it done.
Is there anyone he has yet to see this season that might be a real strong challenge to him, or has he seen most of his toughest challenges?
No, there's some kids he hasn't wrestled that are going to pose a tough challenge for him, but we've seen them all wrestle. We haven't wrestled them all, but there's nobody, I'm going to say it right now, there's nobody in his class, but again, you got to compete, you got to go.
In terms of some of the other really strong performers that have done well individually this year, Evan Yanilevich, he's been injured. He's had some weight issues. But overall, when he's been able to get on the mat, he's been nearly unstoppable. What do you expect from him?
Again, it's hard to say. Again, when he's been making weight and not injured, he's had a rough year. He's had a lot of bad luck, and he really hasn't been able to get his training to keep his weight down because of injuries. Long story short, he could be as good as anybody, and we're cautiously optimistic that he's going to have a great postseason run.
And some of the other guys who stand out, Bo Candelaria, when he's moved in to the 165, he's been nearly unstoppable. Do you expect to put him there, or do you have any expectations elsewhere?
Yeah, Bo's going to be at 165. He's wrestling as well as anybody on our team right now. He's got a tough challenge. The weight class is stacked. That could be the toughest all-around weight class. But he's as good as any of those guys. But he's going to have the tournament of his year. Mitch Volker has another situation where it's tough competition, but he was at Nationals last year, and he expects to qualify again, as do we.
Other guys who've really stood out this year in terms of Giovanni Ortiz as a senior, Brandon Clark at the 197. Do you see as strong of a competition from some of those other weight classes? And if so, where do they stack up?
Yeah, they stack up fine, but it's going to be very difficult. This year we lost one qualifier. We were taking the top 4 in previous years. This year we're only taking the top 3. So it becomes more difficult, obviously. There's one less qualifier per weight class. But Brandon had a great year, and Gio's had an awesome career for us, and we want to see them end with a chance to at least compete for an All-Americanship, but they got to get by the regional first.
Individually, any others who you feel like stand out and have a good chance?
You know, our 49 and our 57 pounder, I think, have a great chance. Joey Esposito is going to be seated pretty high. He's had some injuries of late and hasn't been able to compete, but he's got a very good chance, as does our 57 pounder Matt Martaccio. So we're going to go in there with a lot of opportunities. Just need to have the tournaments of their lives to get in.
And just overall, from a team aspect, obviously it's more of an individual thing from here on out, but there's a chance to have those team rankings moving forward. What is it like just for the whole team to kind of support each of the individuals going forward?
Oh, it's great. That's what we are here at Kutztown. We're a big family, and everybody supports everyone else. But I try to just forget about the team aspect of things this much. I want them concentrating on their own game. Right now, they're helping each other, but once the whistle blows, they'll be supporting each other, but it's all about their individual accomplishments now.
And finally, Coach, do you find any particular key of what the guys need to do from here till Saturday morning?
No, all the preparation's been pretty much done. We're just going to fine-tune it, make sure our weight control is good, and make sure we're strong and healthy.
And again, that is head coach Rob Fisher for the KU wrestling team. Golden Bears in action this weekend at Pitt Johnstown. And the Golden Bears have 9 of their 10 weight classes with wrestlers ranked regionally in the top 5. Not sure how the seeding will pan out, how the brackets will be set, but a good chance for several Golden Bears to make it to nationals. And that national tournament, if the Golden Bears make it in, I believe this year it will be different than the location they had last year. But if the Golden Bears make it beyond the Super 1 Region Wrestling Championships, it'll be March 14th and 15th in Cleveland, Ohio, the NCAA National Championships. Next up here, we take a look at the PSAC Indoor Track and Field Championships, as the Golden Bears men have 21 players in the entry list. The women have 37. Let's take a look at some of these coming up here for the Golden Bears. You have Zach Fleming, perhaps in 3 events: the mile run, the 3K run, and part of the 4x800 relay with Michael Callahan, Devontae King, and Brad Mayer. Mayer could also be represented in the 4x400. There's been a few Golden Bears who have factored in there: Ron Smith, Karan Kaysen, Tanner Lipsky, Richard Gatewood, Austin Gallagher. Of course, they'll have to have 4 go in for the meet. But Mayer also will be in the 800 run, Karan Kaysen in the 60-meter dash, Ron Smith and Michael Robinson the 400-meter dash. Jake Austin will be in the 5K run. And for the distance medley, you will have Naib Menjestib, Tanner Lipsky, Josh Ranker, and John Inglis. In the field events, you'll have Ricardo Kennedy in the high jump, Lanny Buck in the pole vault, along with Sean Burns, Richard Gatewood in the long jump, Christopher Vericchione and Brandon Lamy in the shot put, Tyler Rosshausen and Brandon Lamy in the weight throw, as well as Christopher Vericchione. And then the heptathlon, you have Tyler Matunis and Lucas Christofitz. The women have 37 spots in the entry list. That includes Evan Dangerfield in the 60 and 200-meter dashes. Dangerfield will also be in the 4x400 with Bria Evans, Nicole Badosser, and Brandy Nice. Badosser will be in the 400-meter dash, as will Nice be. Also of note, you have Rebecca Tooker doing the high jump, long jump, and triple jump. She'll be in 3 events. Jen Cleary could be in as much as 5. The 800-meter dash, the mile run, the 3K run, could be in the 4x800 and the distance medley. Kutztown has had 5 different players perform in the 4x800. Jess Huber, Francis McNally, Jen Cleary, Carolyn Fergus, Ashley Bauer. In the distance medley, Kutztown's had 6 different: Fergus, Evans, Bauer, Cleary, Jamie Daly, and Kim Katzgrau. Also of note, McNally also will be in the 800-meter dash and the 3K run. Jess Huber in the mile run and 3K run. Corinne Manell will be in the 3K and 5K runs. Daly in the 3K run. Mommy McDonald the 5K run. In the hurdles, you'll have Tori Hollis, Kim Richardson, and Autumn Kraus in the 60 meters. In the high jump, besides Tooker, you have Rachel Eshelman and Sarah Kimsey. In the pole vault, Emma Sullivan, Justine Ebert, and Destiny DeStasio. Long jump, we already mentioned Tooker. Sarah Kimsey will be there along with Christina Descano. In the shot put, you'll have Victoria Schaefer and Carly Thurber. weight throw, Rosaline Farrell and Nicole Wildermuth, and then finally in the pentathlon, Toscano and Schaefer. And now let's hear from head coach Ray Hoffman about the prospects for Kutztown Indoor Track and Field at the PSAC Championships.
First and foremost, just if you can, just assess what you think the team's done so far up to this point.
We've had a pretty solid season. Both teams are definitely in a rebuilding phase right now with what we lost last year. But with the freshman class that we have in, the freshmen and sophomores are doing a nice job making transition from the high school level to the college level, and then our leadership up top is still great. With leaders like Rachel Eshelman, girls like Molly McDonald, Carolyn Fergus, Jamie Daly, Sarah Kimsey, all doing a good job keeping the program nice and tight together.
What do you think have been some of the most standout performances? We know that Emma set the pole vault record recently, and Zach continues to do what he's done, carrying over from cross-country season. But who else really has stood out?
Yeah, there have been a handful of individuals, obviously opening up the season with our first meet at Bucknell with Rachel qualifying for nationals in the high jump, just recently with Emma breaking our pole vault record. Zach, like you said, he's been doing a great job all season, and he can run anything well from the 800 up to the 5,000. So that's going to be pretty important for us as championships roll around this weekend, and guys like Lanny Buck coming around for us right now, Tyler Rolshausen, Richard Gatewood. So a handful of people are definitely showing that they're starting to rise to the occasion for this weekend.
For a few of those who might be on the fence or maybe a little bit of lengthy reach to make it to nationals, how important is it for them to get a strong showing in the PSACs here, and then obviously it'll double as a chance to kind of catapult themselves into the spring season?
Yeah, well, the nice thing about, if you're an athlete that's on the bubble getting into nationals is with being at the PSAC championships, it's one of the most, if not the most competitive Division II conference in the country. So you're definitely going to have the competition there that's going to make you rise to the next level. So, as long as your training is going well, which ours is doing fabulous right now, you're going to have the ability to bump yourself up on the list.
Obviously, Shippensburg's one of the top competitors. Anyone else who's going to be a real tough challenge?
I think, on the women's side, you have Shippensburg's pretty solid. Slippery Rock right now might be the clear favorite. East Stroudsburg, Edinburgh, IUP, as well as ourselves. On the men's side, Shippensburg is pretty dominant right now. Slippery Rock, again, on the men's side, real solid. East Stroudsburg, to name a few.
And thankfully for this meet, you don't have to worry about anything outside, as you haven't been able to have to worry about that since November and such. But really, what do you think is going to be a key for the performers to do well here, to have that mentality straight of getting the performances done?
I mean, you just got to believe in your training right now. As long as you feel like your training's gone well, which it has, there's no reason why you can't step up and perform at this level.
So that, again, is head coach Ray Hoffman talking about the Kutztown Indoor Track and Field teams and the PSAC Indoor Track and Field Championships. Those take place this weekend at Bucknell University. To follow the Golden Bears Indoor Track and Field teams and the wrestling team this weekend, log on to KUBears.com to check out how you can follow the live stats. Also, check out the Twitter at KU Golden Bears. Again, that's at KU Golden Bears. They'll get you live updates of what's going on for the championships this week. And they'll also be giving you updates on what's going on this weekend in KU bowling, as well as KU men's and women's basketball. And when we return after this break on the Golden Bear Beat here on KUR, we will be talking about those teams, as the bowling team will be in their third NEC meet of the season, and the men's and women's basketball teams will be in the first round of the PSAC Championship Tournament. We talk about that when we return on KUR. Back here on the Golden Bear Beat, Adam Dobrovolsky here in the KUR studios, as also coming up this weekend, KU bowling in the third NEC meet of the season. This will be very important for the Golden Bears. We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit. But let's first take a look at KU basketball on both the men's and women's side heading into the postseason. Both teams clinch a spot in the PSAC Championship Tournament this Saturday. The men did so through victory against Shippensburg on Saturday. Kutztown also got a victory against Bloomsburg last night to finish the regular season 10-16 overall, 8-8 in the PSAC East. The victory Saturday, 87-80 against the Red Raiders. Kutztown shot 57.1% in the first half, led 45-25, and although Shippensburg made a run at it in the second half, Kutztown hangs on for victory. 6 players scored in double figures for the Maroon and Gold. Josh Johnson led the way with 21 points on 9 of 11 shooting. He also had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks. Tracy Peel added in 17 and 8 rebounds. He had 13 points from Elijah Jackson, 10 from Fred Dukes, as well as 8 assists and 4 steals. And then a career-high 12 from Antonio DePina and a career-high 10 from Brandon Brighty. Yesterday against the Huskies, the Golden Bears used a 34-6 run in the second half to win 73-64. Tracy Peel led the way for the Golden Bears with 21 points and 9 rebounds on 9 of 13 shooting from the floor. Josh Johnson had 20 points, 8 of 12 shooting, but the standout performance from Martin Dietrich, a career-high 18 points, 5 of 7 shooting from 3, the best performance from 3 from any Golden Bear this season. Dietrich also had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Golden Bears shot 68%, 17 of 25 from the floor in the second half. Gets a regular season sweep against the Huskies, and that's the team Kutztown will play Saturday at 2 p.m. on the Golden Bear Network. Kutztown at Bloomsburg from Nelson Fieldhouse. First round action on the Golden Bear Network. In the 2 meetings, Kutztown has won by a combined 20 points. In the first meeting, Kutztown ended the game on a 65-33 run over about a 30-minute span against Bloomsburg. So 2 really strong runs from the Golden Bears. About a 32-point run in the first meeting, a 28-point run in the second meeting. KU could be in good standing, but it's always tough to try and get that third victory against the same team. So for Kutztown, they'll have to make sure they continue to play well. They've done so offensively as of late. The last 4 games, Kutztown's scored 89 points, 85, 87, and 73, and they've been shooting well. In fact, the game against Bloomsburg last night was the first time the Huskies allowed more than 50% shooting from the floor. So although Kutztown really didn't have the pace in the game, a lot of half-court game last night, they were able to shoot efficiently, and that's what you want. And in fact, looking over the last 10 games, if you want to, in particular, Kutztown 6-4, but over the last 6, Kutztown 4-2, wins at Westchester and Cheney. And then their 2 losses at home featured Kutztown scoring 89 and 85 points respectively against Millersville and Lock Haven. Millersville at Lock Haven 5-4 in the first round from the east side. Kutztown, though, if they win against Bloomsburg, will face the East 2 seed Westchester Tuesday at 7:30 in the quarterfinals. As for the women, they're still looking for win number 300 for head coach Janet Maloof. Kutztown, though, gets in Saturday despite a loss to Shippensburg, who's the 3 seed in the PSAC East, 81-52. Kutztown lost yesterday to Bloomsburg, 88-68. KU in the game against Shippensburg saw Avia Campbell get 8 blocks, set a new single-season record in terms of blocks. She had 1 yesterday against Bloomsburg, 70 for the season, that passed the 68 from Becky Savage in the 2002-2003 season. So congratulations to Avia Campbell. Campbell had 11 points, 9 rebounds, 8 blocks against the Red Raiders. Against the Huskies yesterday, another double figures game for Campbell, as she had 12 points, also had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Yesterday, you had Kelsey Watson put up 14 for the Golden Bears, including a career-high 10 free throws made. She also had 8 rebounds. But Kutztown will be the 6th seed. They'll be at Shippensburg Saturday at 1 p.m., and that should be a very tough challenge for the Golden Bears. The Red Raiders, a very good team as a 3 seed in the East, and Kutztown has lost both of their matches by 29 to Shippensburg. They struggled in the first half in the meeting at Higgs Fieldhouse on January 22nd, struggled in the second half this past Saturday. So we'll see if they can put a complete game together. Kutztown finishing the regular season 9-17 overall, 6-10 in the PSAC East. Again, if the women advance, they'll be facing the 2 seed Tuesday in the PSAC quarterfinals. That is Westchester, and it'll be 5:30 for the tip-off. Elsewhere in KU bowling, as mentioned, the 3rd NEC meet coming up. It is this weekend, and you have Kutztown on Saturday facing Fairleigh Dickinson, LIU Brooklyn, Sacred Heart, St. Francis of Pennsylvania, and St. Francis in Long Island. Sunday they will face Adelphi, Fairleigh Dickinson, and LIU Brooklyn. Looking at the conference standings for women's bowling in the Northeast Conference, the PSAC does not have a conference in terms of bowling, but in the NEC, Kutztown in a very, very close spot. They're 3rd of 7 teams, 9-7 through the 2 conference meets. Fairleigh Dickinson's 12-5. St. Francis University 11-5. So Kutztown will have 8 more coming up, and they'll try and close out the regular season strong and have a chance here to get themselves in good standing. They will see NEC teams again at the USBC sectionals March 14th through 16th, but the following meet will be the Music City Classic at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee, Friday, March 7th to Sunday, March 9th. But this weekend, it'll be a very big bowling meet coming up. To close out with a wrap around the KU athletic scene, what happened this past week, KU baseball began its season at the Builder Invitational in Hampton, Virginia, and the Golden Bears end up winning the Invitational, going 4-1. They moved up from 8th in the Atlantic region, 7th to 5th over the past few weeks in terms of the Baseball Writers Association, the NCBWA Division II Atlantic Region rankings. Kutztown winning twice against Lock Haven in the season opener, 8-6. Kutztown scoring 4 runs in the first inning. Lock Haven got the lead with a 6th spot in the 5th, but then Kutztown came back, a run in the 5th, 3 in the 7th, and then Matt Swarmer gets a save in the top of the 9th. Kutztown also getting dominant victories against Newport News Apprentice School, 10-2, and Briarcliff, 11-1. Those are 2 teams in the Small College Association, the USCAA. Kutztown taking care of business in the 10-2 victory against Apprentice. Kutztown had 15 hits. They were able to spread out multiple hit games from 5 different players, and then Kyle Stout only lasted 3 1/3 innings due to a lengthy rain delay. So he was the shortest Golden Bear in terms of starting distance, in terms of the starting 5 from this past weekend, but that was due to weather. In the 11-1 victory against Briarcliff, Corey Snyder, 5 shutout innings, 2 hits allowed, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Brandon Scholish went 3 for 4. He had another good game. And then Kutztown lost 9-1 to Bloomsburg Saturday night. Kutztown was up 1-0 through 6, but in the final 3 frames, Bloomsburg put up crooked numbers, 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, 9 in the 9th. It spoiled a great start from James Rossi, 5 shutout innings, 3 hits allowed, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. And then finally in the championship game against Lock Haven, Kutztown saw itself up again, 1-0 through 6. But Lock Haven getting a 3 spot in the top of the 7th off the starter Colin Holmes. Holmes in 6 2/3 innings allowed 3 runs, 2 earned on 7 hits, a walk, 5 strikeouts. A quality start for him. Inefficient, only 81 pitches in those 6 2/3 innings. But Kutztown will come back after Lock Haven got another run in the 8th to make it 4-1. Kutztown got 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th. Kutztown loaded the bases. Brandon Martinez drew a walk, made it 4-2. Kyle Stout, a game-tying 2-run single, tied the game up at 4, and then Brady McNabb, the go-ahead sac fly to make it 5-4, and then Matt Swarmer would close things out. He did get the victory, lasted an inning and 2/3 of shutout ball, 2 hits allowed, 2 strikeouts. The Golden Bears 4-1 on the season in the first weekend of action. Kutztown seeing its bats come alive early, and that's what you want to see from this team moving forward. They know they have the pitching, the hitting's got to do well also. Kutztown batted .330 in the tournament. That included 9 of 17 from Kyle Stout, 8 of 19 with 2 doubles and 3 RBIs from Brandon Cholish. Other players with at least 3 hits: Drew DeShong and Brandon Martinez, each with 6 hits. Tommy Romano had 5, 3 apiece from John Dawkins, Ricky Devlin, Darian Sarlott, Warren Stimson, and Joe Peters. Dawkins, of note, also walked 6 times, so his on-base percentage 500 through the first weekend in Kutztown with a .418 on-base percentage through the first weekend. And how about their 5 starters? You had James Rossi, 5 shutout innings. Corey Snyder, 5 shutout innings. Colin Holmes, quality start in 6 2/3 innings. Kyle Stout allowed just 1 run on 4 hits in his 3 1/3 innings. Brendan Shimo just 2 earned runs allowed in 4 2/3 innings. So the Golden Bears starters with a good ERA thus far. Still obviously a long way to go, but through 5 games, perhaps one time through the rotation. We'll see if the rotation goes 5 deep, if not more. But Kutztown with a 1.82 starters ERA. As for KU softball, they were at Tusculum College this past weekend for the Pioneer Classic. Softball still trying to get a rhythm for this season. They went 2-3, defeated Mercyhurst twice in 8 innings, once 9-1, once 8-0. They had one other regional game they lost 8-0 in 5 innings to Virginia at Wise. So Kutztown a 3-3 regional record, 3-6 overall. They also lost to King College 5-2 in Tusculum, 2-0. But so far, Kutztown's faced only one opponent with an under 500 record. That was Mercyhurst. So we'll see if the Golden Bears can improve moving forward. They will next be at the Salem Invitational to begin the weekend before spring break, Friday, March 14th to Sunday, March 16th, where Kutztown will have 5 regional games. They'll be at the NTC College Spring Games Tuesday, March 18th to Thursday, March 20th, and have 1 in-region game against Malloy. So for the Golden Bears, they're still looking to get out of the blocks, but it's been some February struggles for KU softball throughout the years. They like to begin the year down south where teams have been able to practice outdoors. So that really is playing a big impact, especially this year with all the snow on the ground. Haven't been able to practice outdoors. Kutztown 3-6 through February. They were 3-2 last year in February. Made it to the Division II National Championship game. They were a perfect 8-0 in 2012 when they made it to the Division II semifinals, and 7-2 in 2011, but 3-2 at the Pembroke Invitational in 2010, 3-4 through February in 2009, 1-4 through February in 2007, 1-4 start in 2006, which began in March, 2-4 start in 2005, 4-6 start in 2004, 4-5 start in 2003. All those teams made it to the NCAA Regionals. So, bottom line here, don't be too worried. Golden Bears will get things going. Still looking to get players like Colleen Smith, Morgan Booth, Jackie Hetzler going. Those are veteran players. They will improve as the season goes on. The hitting will get better. The pitching will get into rhythm. Hitting's contagious. No worries there for the Golden Bears. But really, they do need to get it started in terms of their next meet coming up. Or not next meet, but their next invitational coming up in a few weeks. To wrap things up here on the Golden Bear Beat, just a reminder of what's to come this weekend. Again, it's a busy weekend, beginning things off with a Saturday that sees a lot going on. First round of the PSAC Championship Tournament in men's and women's basketball. We'll have the men's game from Bloomsburg at 2 p.m. on the Golden Bear Network. You have the Indoor Track and Field Championships at Bucknell University Saturday and Sunday. The Super Region 1 Championships at Pitt Johnstown Saturday and Sunday. The NEC third meet for bowling Saturday and Sunday. That is in Long Island, New York, on the campus of St. Francis of New York. Men's tennis begins its season Saturday at Edinburgh, 4 p.m. Then they'll be at Mercyhurst Sunday morning, 11:30. So they will have their season get underway. And then if Kutztown basketball makes it to the quarterfinals, games will be Tuesday. If the men win, they'll play at Westchester, 7:30. If the women play, they'll play at Westchester, 5:30. Whoever wins, we'll have coverage of that on the Golden Bear Network. And then Wednesday, lacrosse begins its season at Georgian Court. But for now, this is Adam Dobrovolsky closing up this edition of the Golden Bear Beat. Coming up next week on the Golden Bear Beat, we'll help to set you up for some of the things coming up for spring break. The next 2 editions will get you that, as it'll be March 6th and March 13th. We're going to be having a busy spring break. Baseball will be on the road. Softball will be on the road. Lacrosse will be on the road. A lot of stuff coming up, so we'll talk about that stuff. Also, you will have that weekend before spring break, perhaps some big meets in terms of the USBC sectionals for bowling and wrestling, perhaps in the NCAA championships. And also, if track makes it to the NCAA championships, they will find themselves in action while we're away for break. We will not have the Golden Bear Beat for the March 20th edition, as well I'll be down in Florida with the softball team covering their games. But if indoor track and field make it, they too will be competing in the NCAA championships that weekend, March 15th and 16th. So we'll be breaking down that stuff over the next 2 weeks. Also, outdoor track and field season begins March 20th, which is during spring break. So we have a lot of stuff to get to. We're going to try and split it over 2 hours, over 2 episodes of the Golden Bear Beat beginning next week. But for now, this is Adam Dobrovolsky signing out how we always do. Go Bears, go.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of the Golden Bear Beat. Make sure to stay updated on everything involving Kutztown University athletics at KUBears.com and tune in for weekly broadcasts every Thursday at noon on KUR.